Hello, bookhos. I know it's Halloween, but you know what? Something really scary has happened. I've gone back to grad school. Good evening or afternoon or whatever time it is, because I have survived a week of grad school, officially, for the second time. Welcome to Bookhoarding by Bianca. I'm Bianca, and I'm very tired. For those of you who have not been following along, I have gone back to grad school. Again, part 2. Why again? The quickest answer is I virgoed myself into the sun by starting fashion classes at community college because they were fun and I wanted to learn more and just be casual, and now I'm in grad school because I got myself a scholarship for free tuition to Academy of Art. So I've officially completed 1 week of a graduate program and master's program for costume design. I thought this could be a fun little diary on my first week. An overview of my first week. I tried to take some video, but I don't have a ton because it was a lot. Okay, first day of grad school is kind of ish done. It's weird because it's online, so I just kind of have to log on and look at stuff and read stuff. I have 3 classes this semester because it's full time to meet the requirements of my scholarship, which gives me free tuition, and I think it's okay. I mean, obviously, like, starting this on a day that I have work is kind of hard, so I've just been kind of skimming through the things, making sure there's nothing that I need to do, like, right now today. But theoretically, the first module actually is more than a week long versus the other ones that are a week, so I have more than a week to do all my homework, which is great. I am hella excited about all the things, like the costume class and the fashion history class and my jewelry class. I am thrilled and excited, and I will probably be doing most of it on the weekend, so updates then. But looking at the assignments for the semester, I'm just like, this is gonna be so creative and fun and silly. I just need to get through it. Why am I taking jewelry making, you might ask? Well, it was either that or take Construction 101 again, and I've taken like 3 levels of construction at this point, and I thought it would be better use of my time to take a class that I haven't taken, and that would teach me something. But of course, that means a ton of money for tools, so if you want to hit that little donate button on my Ko-fi and give me some money to help pay for stuff, because my scholarships haven't come in yet, so I had to pay for all of that out of pocket. Oh, capitalism and education. So my jewelry class is really focused on like silversmithing and metalsmithing, I guess. I'll show you the textbook, which is essentially just a manual, which I kind of respect. More places just have manuals for things that are just a manual-based kind of situation where you're just learning how to smith something or do a skill-based thing. There's tons of helpful information in this book if you're looking for it. I have just started, so I can't tell you much more than it's pretty nifty and helpful. These tabs I had to put in myself because they were like, it was too expensive to print that. Here's a sheet, just tape them in. Literally, that's what it says in the beginning of this book. So I did that. So it was really helpful. But otherwise, I've just been doing the really basic thing of week 1 is learning how to saw, how to put your saw together, how to saw into pieces of sheet metal, and how to make turns and sharp curves and all these things. It's terrifying when your saw blade breaks in front of you, but if you're wearing safety stuff, it's fine. I mean, logistically though, I think that I'm almost more excited about this class than anything else, only because I've never done anything and it's scary exciting that way. That being said, my costume design class is the class that I'm most excited about, but I have that weird, like, I'm so excited I'm fearful about it situation, which segues into my costume design class. I have spent my week learning everything about Lysistrata by Aristophanes. Costume design 1 is about theater, so I'll be doing 3 plays this year in class where I'll be spending a week learning all I can about it, a week making a ton of conceptual ideas and designs. Week 3 is like refining all those things, and then I will present. You'll get to see those because I'm not going to keep those to myself. I'm having a lot of fun designing for Lysistrata. If you're a Lore Olympus fan, I think you'll be excited for the color choices that I'm going with. But yes, I had to spend a week like finding other adaptations, finding journals and books and all that, and researching and copying stuff down and citing things. That was fun, exciting, terrifying. I think the biggest thing is reminding folks that, like, hey, I'm here to show you what goes on in costume design school. So when people say, oh, a costume designer doesn't have any idea about the historical stuff behind a thing, in week 1 of my class, there's a ton of stuff about how you do all this research and then you decide what to keep and not keep. So like, please stop saying that costume design people aren't doing research. They are. Like, everything about costume design is about design. You're going to research something, you're going to put your whole heart into figuring out what's going to work for your production that you're working with. That doesn't always mean historical accuracy. And in fact, even if you're trying to go for accuracy, there's no 100% way to do that in this world, because you're not going to hand sew every piece in the world that we live in now, the budgets that we live in now. So I'm like super excited about putting together stuff. I really do actually fundamentally hate though collaging. I am not a fan, never will be, really hate it. I have to do so many collages in fashion school, don't like it, prefer not to, but I will do it because I have to. Like, I had to do a collage to start submitting ideas for like midterm projects for jewelry design, and I'm just like, please, no, I hate it, but I'll do it. Don't want to. So yeah, I'm excited. Costume design, we're starting with comedy. We're gonna do other cool things along the way. I won't drop the names yet. I want to keep that to myself. And then my other class is this like fashion and influence over time thing, which I am just gonna call fashion history light, because it really is starting the Victorian era and working its way through contemporary times and talking about the influence of fashion, which is really not different than like fashion history itself, but that talks like about a kind of bigger global ancient to modern day take, and this starts the Victorian era. I'm not a fan of the Victorian era, to be honest. I think that besides the clothing, there's so many other really actual dreadful and harmful parts of the Victorian era that we have not shed as a society, from colonization to all the things that have come from that, the overlapping things from the rampant white supremacy that was happening. So I'm very biased. I have a lot of opinions on it because I feel like for one of my first activities, it was like, why do people keep coming back to the Victorian era? And I'm like, have we really left? I feel like when you really start to like look at our values and ideals as a kind of whole, and you see how people are still fundamentally doing certain things, I don't know, to me, I'm like, we're still, I think, lensing a lot of things through the gaze of Victorians as I sit here in my puffy sleeves. Listen, puff sleeves came before the Victorians proper, okay? You heard of the Romantics? Yeah, I've made a Mina Harker dress. Like, I know, I can be contradictory, okay? I'm a contradictory human being. So that's an interesting class. It seems like it's going to be a lot of just like reading and then talking about your reading. A fun thing that I'd like to talk about is how in a lot of these texts, like these books on fashion history, they just kind of blanketly refer to stays as corsets. Like in a lot of things. And like, here's the deal, friends. I understand the need for specificity, but it also seems to me, and please, I'm asking the kind of greater costume design space. At one time in academia, was corset just the umbrella term for all of it? All under things? Because it feels to me from multiple readings, like multiple sign readings, just kind of blanketly say corsets and not just differentiating stays from corsets. So I'm just curious if at one time academic writing didn't differentiate and now there's a push for it, because that kind of makes more sense to me now. And also why, like, when I see conflict where people are like, oh, they should call it stays, and I'm like, but this is a smart person. I think it's probably a reason they didn't call them stays. Like, a lot of my stuff is like talking about like Regency corsets, even though they're not. I'm just curious, again, like, this is me sharing interesting stuff that I'm learning and seeing. I understand the need for specificity, don't get me wrong, but it seems almost like at one point this was taught as the kind of, it's fine to use this umbrella term. Please, someone give me some insight into that. I need to share something with y'all that has been sitting on my brain and I always forget to talk about. If you're a fan of the Paradise, like moi, because Mr. Moray is just so sexy and he's that hot capitalist guy that you shouldn't like, but like it's the reason we all like Mr. Thornton, right? That was based on a novel by Emile Zola, and that itself was like a fictionalization of like the first department stores, and the first department stores were like Bon Marché. And it's funny to me because my husband is like from Oregon, and so he like always like makes fun of like the Bon Marché commercial. I was like, what's a Bon Marché? Because I've never been to one. It's not a thing where I lived. Bon Marché is like a thing that's existed for a long time. It was the first department store, kind of. Anyway, so we don't read about department stores, like the first department stores, in my fashion history Lite class, and I'm like, all I want to do is watch the Paradise again. That's all I want to do. Oh, Mr. Murray. Overall, I have had an okay time. I think I'm just like trying to keep up with everything on top of like, you know, there's the school shit, there's the work shit, there's the life shit. My grandma was recently diagnosed with like late stage Alzheimer's, so there's a lot. Like, obviously not shocked that she has that because we are with her every day. What's shocking is how little healthcare actually gives a fuck about people who are aging and slowly dying. I'm just trying to stay ahead on things for class. Like, I can view the next week's module because I'm taking everything online. I can view the next week's module ahead of time, so I started finishing my schoolwork before it was due and have started moving forward in like the next week's reading, so I can just be a little bit ahead. And then I have a few weekends where I'm staying with my grandma's to take care of her, so we'll see how things go. I'm just, I guess, in the kind of mentally, I'm scared of burning out. I am trying really hard not to do that, so I'm taking care of some like mental health stuff for me as well, which is terrifying and also time consuming, right? Like, all this is time consuming, especially if you're like me, living in America with our insanely broken healthcare systems, and if you're like me and you are like a woman of color, so like therefore there's a lot of things that are working against you getting the assistance and help that you need. Fun times though, overall. Like, it is fulfilling to see me like getting to do this work and to like slowly be getting back into the swings of this. It is tiring. I was used to taking kind of 2 classes a semester when I was in community college, and now I'm just like, I'm so tired, friends. I think I'm gonna be okay. I think I just need to focus on some things, do them. So I might be slower for videos for a minute. I will try, I think, to intersperse like kind of video diaries more often, or like reviews of some stuff I've done, going over some big projects just so you can see them. I will have a fun video about making my jeweler's table. It is a table that I made for my jewelry class, and I'll just save that for later, but I hope that I can get to work on that because that's a fun one. I'm just showing you how I put it together from a free desk that I found. Okay, I think that is it for now. Thank you for joining me with this kind of wandering, meandering review of my first week of graduate school for costume design. I'm excited, I'm terrified. I have imposter syndrome, but I also am excited to be here. So, all those things being said, thank you, patrons. You're the ones that are supporting all of this, really, and giving me motivation to continue to create stuff around me, learning to create stuff. So I thank you so much, and I hope that you two are having a good fall, precursor to fall, whatever is happening in your part of the world. If you'd like to join my Patreon, or send me some funds to help pay for all the chaos of my life, that'd be helpful, because everything is slowly falling to shit. Links in my description. I think that's it. I've devolved into slow existential crisis, so where else can I go? Thank you for joining me, and don't forget to make it so.